Mother's Rules series. When I was young, I lived in a small cabin in a forest with my mother and my sister. It wasn't completely isolated from society, but it was about a mile away from the rest of the town. She did all she could to keep us safe and had many rules for us to follow. Most of them were normal. Don't go out at night or make sure you don't get in trouble in school. But others were much stranger. A rule I was told after my 6th birthday was to never swim in the pond. Not only could I not swim in it, but I was not allowed to go near it at nighttime. At the time, I was confused, but I wish I had adhered to it. Years later, my sister and I decided to go near it. We were curious and didn't think anything bad would happen to us. As we were observing the pool, I saw that the water looked a bit off. It was too murky to see the depths of it, but I could definitely see something in it. I brushed it off as just my mind playing tricks on me, or maybe an animal that lived there. My sister stuck her hand into it to prove there was nothing to be afraid of. Then she screamed and pulled her hand out. "Something bit me," she said. Her hand was red and bloody, and we ran out of the clearing and brought it to our mother. She reprimanded us for not listening to her rule and cleaned off my sister's wound. After it was cleaned off, I noticed something about the wound. The bite marks didn't look like an animal. Quite the contrary, they looked like a human's. After this incident, my mother made sure to watch over us more carefully. She didn't let us stay home alone for years after that. Finally, when we were around 15, she let us stay alone for a few hours. As she had to work a bit longer at her job, she told us how to properly use the stove and gave us a couple of recipes to cook if we were hungry. Finally, before she left, she told us if you hear a knock on the door, don't open it. I have a key. I was pretty confused by this rule, and I'd assume my sister was too. But we brushed it off. After she left, I took out our Monopoly game, and we started playing. Mother didn't like us playing this, since we always get into fights over who won. In the middle of the game, I heard a knock. "Mother's home," said my sister. I had forgotten about her warning, so we walked toward the door. Just before I put my hand toward the doorknob, I remembered the warning. "Wait, Mom told us to not open the door if we hear a knock." She paused and tried to get a look at who or what might have knocked on our door. I could swear that I saw something at the door, but it was too dark to see. "I don't see anyone," she said. She turned and looked at me. "What if whoever's at the door is dangerous? I've heard stories of children being kidnapped by a stranger who showed up at the door." We ran from the door and hid in our room. From it, we could still hear the knocks, seemingly more aggressive. I heard our mother's voice calling us, telling us to open the door. With my hands shaking, I called the phone number of my mom's workplace on the family phone. She answered and asked me if anything was wrong. "Mom, someone's knocking on the door. They sound like you," I said. She said nothing. I could hear her breathing heavily. "I'll come home right now. Please don't leave the house," she said. She hung up, and I put the phone down. Then, I heard my sister scream. "There's something at the window," she said. I looked, and sure enough, I saw a figure standing there. What was strange was that it didn't look human. The face was blocked, but I could see that the arms and legs were a bit too long for its body, and the clothes didn't fit right. My sister then shined a light through the window to see its face. I turned away. It already looked creepy enough, and I didn't want to get nightmares. She screamed, and when I asked her what she saw, she shook her head. "I can't tell you," she said. At that moment, I saw our mother's car pulling in on the driveway. As soon as she stepped out of the car, the figure standing at the doors and went on all fours and crawled away. After our mother entered the house, we told her what had happened and how my sister had seen the figure. "Let's pack our bags. It knows your face." It